Some people drive to get from one point to another. Others drive to see how fast they can get from start to finish. Few drive for freedom. The Civic SI and the Forte GT might not be the best cars for seeing how fast you can get from point A to point B, but the freedom these cars give you for around $25,000 US is second to none. But which car is for you? If you don't know already, my name is Albert, also known as Honestly Bad, and today I bring you one of the most suggested videos to date, the direct comparison side by side of the brand new Kia Forte GT and the Civic SI Sedan. One is created by a recipe for affordability, comfort, and a new formula for its brand. The other bred down generation after generation, taking bits of greatness from each in its wake. Today we will compare the performance, exterior, interior, and technology, and finally the most important thing, drivability. I will give my honest review for both of these vehicles as unbiased as possible, because to me it is more important to inform you, the viewer, than to give a huge opinionated nonsense, because in reality both these vehicles are great in their own way. So with that, let's get into this comparison with performance. Both the Civic Si and Forte GT is equipped with a direct injected 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. The Civic is a 1.5 liter powering the front wheels with a 6-speed manual transaxle with a limited slip differential, producing 205 horsepower at 5,700 RPM and 192 pound-feet of torque at 2,100 RPM. For the Kia, it's utilizing a 1.6 liter and also powering the front wheels through a manual transaxle, producing 201 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 195 pound-feet of torque at 1,500 RPM. Now, for the question you are all waiting for, which car is faster? On paper, the Civic gets to 0 to 60 from a dig in 6.6 seconds and the Kia gets there in 6.9 seconds. There, I said it, the Civic has a faster 0 to 60 time. That means it's the faster car, right? Well, not necessarily. Of course, it is possible to hit 6.6 seconds in a Civic or 6.9 in the Forte in perfect situations and assuming you shift fast enough at the peak RPM. The advantage the Kia can have in a race against an SI is the fact that the Forte is offered in a dual clutch transmission. Some auto enthusiasts in forums have found that the fastest to be at 6.7 for the DCT. Again, the Civic is rated for faster, but we all know how hard it is to get that manufacturer quote of 0 to 60. But in a roll race, which is faster? Yeah, I can't show you some of that footage all the way through for legal reasons, but both cars from a roll at 30 miles per hour in second gear are able to keep up with each other pretty much neck and neck for quite some time. Sorry for the Civic enthusiasts who tell me that SI is faster. It can be, but no driver is perfect. To finish off performance, both cars have sports tuned suspensions that really make both cars a corner monster, meaning extremely fun and easy to drive around corners. The Civic can be a little more stiff and the Forte is definitely a stiffer ride for a sedan of its size, but it is what you expect looking at sports sedans like these. In short, these cars are almost identical when it comes to performance. Do I wish one was faster than the other? Of course, we all want our cars to be faster, but I will admit in this case, my buddy who provided the Civic will admit it as well. The cars are virtually neck and neck when it comes to stock performance. So now we will move to exterior design. From a glance, both cars are definitely supporting great lines and features to help make each car unique into their own. One thing for sure, the Civic definitely has a lower, more aggressive stance than the Forte. I believe the reason behind this is the fact that the Civic is optional as a coupe for different trim levels, and of course, you can go up to the Type R. I think the SI screams potential for the car to come, and that's why it has a more sports car look. From the front, both cars have a very aggressive front end, both supporting amazing looking LED daytime running lights and both have optioned fog lights. The major differences between these two are obviously the styling. The Kia seems to have more of a performance and or functional design over looks for its front end. You have a decent sized grille that is actually continued in the lower half of the bumper. While we're on the topic of Kia's grille, you can see the dual color tiger tooth grille that is unique to only the Kia Forte GT. No other manufacturer or car has this design. The only fake vents that this car has is on its lower right and left of the bumper, holding the turn signals for the car. Look a little lower and you see the nice gloss black lip underlining the aesthetic of the Kia Forte GT's fascia. The Civic, being a totally different beast, has different styling quota. The front bumper has a real mean looking black section supporting the headlights and the SI badge that I personally love about the car. There's a couple slits between the Honda badge allowing airflow. When you look farther down, you sadly see two very obvious fake vents supporting the fog light. The one on the passenger side has some cutouts for whatever reason, and the one under the license plate is functional. A lot of cars today, like the new Supra, support a lot of fake vents, which sucks. I personally don't like it, but it's the trend automakers are moving towards, sadly. Lastly, on the front end, the Civic has a nice bottom quote-unquote lip that's part of the front bumper, but the underlying effect that it gives the front fascia is definitely what makes this car look sportier. Now moving on to the sides of the cars, we'll start with the Civic. This is where the SI kind of loses me. You have a half chrome, half black outline of the windows, which I kind of wish Honda just made it one or the other. It just looks off to me. This is this one side of the Civic that I just don't care for. It's kind of bland, not gonna lie, and it makes the car look like a normal everyday sedan. The only other real point I can make about the mirrors is that they're half black and half body colored. On the flip side, the Kia as well looks just like every other day commuter car, but with a little more styling cues. You have blacked out mirror caps with the turn signal lights on them, and the Forte also made the outline of the windows all black and added a nice gloss black side skirt to help underline the car. Also towards the rear, you can see the beginnings of the rear diffuser. Lastly, both cars are supporting 18-inch wheels that, in my opinion, really complements each car very well. Now onto the rear, starting with the Forte. The Kia Forte GT's rear end is probably one of, if not my favorite rear ends for sports sedans. You have a small black spoiler with black accents outlining your reverse and turn signal lights, and a really sporty looking rear diffuser, complementing the dual chrome exhaust tips. Finally, on the rear, you have awesome taillights that reminds me a lot of the Dodge Charger, but with its own take on them. For the Civic's rear end, you have a bigger spoiler that is body colored, housing the third brake light underneath. The taillights for the Civic is integrated with the trunk, and you have two fake vents once again on the lower right and left of the bumper. The Civic has a very subtle, small quote-unquote diffuser accenting the HDMI looking chrome exhaust tip. To wrap up the exterior, here are some proper exhaust clips of both vehicles. Next on our list is the interior. Starting with the Forte, Kia went for a very dark, almost sporty luxury feel to its interior. Pretty much the entire interior is black using fake black leather bits and black cloth, but there is a ton of red accents throughout with red stitching on the door panels, seats, steering wheel, and shift boot. Of course, you have red GT badges inscribed on the seats as well. Moving on to the Civic, I feel the Civic definitely gives you a more sporty feel due to its interior. The cloth bucket seats are definitely more aggressive than the Kia's leatherette cloth seats. The Civic's seats really hold you in place and can be a little snug for wider individuals like myself. But the black hard touch panels with a carbon fiber mock-up trim pieces, leather steering wheel and shift boot with red accents stitching throughout, the Civic's interior is definitely not too shabby for what it is. Moving on to technology, the Civic SI is basically its own trim level, so there isn't many, if not any other options offered for the car. The Civic's technology is not bad and pretty good for its price. There's creature comforts like heated seats and a sunroof, but the thing that blows me away with the Civic is the quote-unquote track apps in the dash display. You have everything from timers, boost gauges, shift lights, brakes, and gas level indicators, and more. This is probably my favorite thing that the Civic offers over any other car in this price point, and the graphics are smooth and looks amazing. Other than that, the Civic is kinda lackluster. It doesn't have lane departure warning or blind spot warning. Instead, it has a camera to see your right side blind spot. It doesn't have upgraded integrated speakers, but it has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Basically, this is it for technology for the Civic. Now for the Kia, this is where I believe Kia wins this segment. Basic features that even a base LX Kia Forte has is lane departure warning, blind spot monitoring, forward collision warning and forward collision avoidance, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and cruise control. With this being the Forte GT, it's optioned with the wireless charging, a sunroof, Harman Kardon premium sound system with Clarify, rear view mirror with HomeLink, and keyless entry. If you choose to go to the DCT for the Kia Forte GT, you can choose to purchase the GT2 package for $2,200 US, giving you smart cruise control, upgraded leather seats with heating and ventilation capabilities, with a 10-way power adjustable driver's seat with lumbar support, lane change assist, forward collision avoidance assist with pedestrian detection, and LED interior lighting. For $2,200 more, that sounds like a lot for the GT DCT trim, but this is still under the MSRP price of the Civic SI, and the smart cruise control on Kia, if you don't know, is the best in the business, and the car will practically drive itself. Now finally, the most important part is how do these cars feel and drive. Starting with the Civic, I have to be honest with it, and I have never enjoyed how the car feels and drives. The clutch is an extremely low throw. It almost feels like a video game, but not in a good way, and honestly I just don't care for the way the shifter feels either. Of course, you still feel the satisfaction of roaring through the gears, but the car almost feels clunky and fake, and I don't know how to explain it. The ride is not bad. It's what I expected for the Civic, and it really does take corners extremely well. There's just no drama and feels like every other economy car, but with a good sporty twist. Now the Kia Forte GT. I don't know how to explain it, but the first time I drove this car, I knew I would buy the car. There's a certain level of drama the Kia Forte GT gives to its drive that just makes the drive that much more enjoyable. When you have the windows down and you roll into the throttle, you're greeted with the pleasant turbo noise and exhaust. Even though the exhaust is pumped in, you hear the exhaust bounce off the walls or other car. The clutch is a nice longer throw with a good weight to it, which makes finding the bite point extremely easy to find. The shifter has a satisfying feel to it, and I really enjoy rowing through the gears. It sounds biased, but when I was getting ready to purchase a car at this price point, I was considering the SI, the Forte GT, and some other economy cars not even worth mentioning in this video. The Civic is definitely for people who are able to appreciate the vehicle and the platform Honda gives the modding and or tuning community. But to me, for the price point and the options given the Forte GT has, is a great bang for its buck. Decent power, a ton of standard options ranging from safety features to upgraded sound systems. If you are looking for a better buy based off of features alone, the Forte GT is it for you. If you're looking for a great platform, the Civic is probably the one for you. All in all, I recommend driving both of these cars for yourself. Everyone has their own taste when it comes to cars, and mine just so happens to fit the Forte GT. Both of these cars are amazing vehicles in their own right. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know I was overdue, but I really hope the wait was worthwhile. Hopefully I earned your like and subscribe. It's free, and you could always subscribe later when you want to. Again, thank you for watching. It's been your boy Honestly Bad or Albert, and I hope to see your comments down below. See you next video.